Hello viewers, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to discuss the poem uh, she they will say she must be from another country. That's poem by Imtiaz Dharker. Wrote this poem based on her multicultural life and experiences of living between different countries and cultures. Born in Pakistan and raised in the Scotland, she later lived in India and Britain. Because of this mixed cultural background, Dharker often felt like an outsider in society. The poem reflects issues such as racism, cultural discrimination, identity crisis, and social prejudice. People quickly judge the speaker because her language, behavior, and appearance are different. The repeated line, "she must be from another country," shows how society labels anyone who does not fit social norms. The poem finally celebrates individuality and accepts otherness as a positive human quality beyond borders and national identity. Significance of the title is significant because it shows how society quickly judges and labels people who are different. The phrase "another country" symbolizes outsider of people who do not fit social norms. It highlights themes of identity, alienation, prejudice, and cultural difference. The title also criticizes narrow-minded attitudes and promotes acceptance of diversity. Okay, so now here the summary of the poem. The poem explores the experience of a person who is repeatedly treated as an outsider because she does not fully fit into society's expectations. Through different situations, the speaker shows how people quickly judge anyone who behaves differently and label them as foreign or strange. The repeated statement, "she must be from another country," becomes a symbol of prejudice, misunderstanding, and social exclusion. At the beginning of the poem, the speaker talks about society's intolerance towards art, literature, and freedom of expression. She cannot understand why people burn books, slash paintings, ban films, or destroy theaters simply because they dislike certain ideas. When she questions such behavior instead of answering her honestly, people dismiss her opinions by calling her someone from another country. This shows that independent thinking is treated as suspicious in narrow-minded society. The poem moves to the issue of language and accent. The speaker explains that when she speaks on the phone, people immediately notice her different pronunciation, her vowels and consonants sound unusual to them, and they quickly assume that she is foreign. Rather than trying to understand her identity, they feel satisfied by placing her into a category. Through this incident, the poet highlights how accent and language become marker of identity and how society often stereotypes people based on the way they speak. In the next part of the poem, the speaker describes how people judge her appearance, clothing, rank, and sexuality. If she dresses differently, or if people think she belongs to another race or sexual identity, they immediately separate her from themselves. Their reactions, such as pursuing their lips or silently criticizing her, show prejudice and discomfort toward diversity. The poet exposes how society often refuses to accept people who do not follow traditional norms. In the four sections, the poem becomes more humorous and satirical. The speaker describes herself eating olives, yawning at the opera, and behaving freely in public places. These actions may seem socially improper to others, but they reveal her natural individuality and freedom from artificial social rules. Society reacts by treating her as uncivilized or ignorant. Once again, people explain away her difference by saying she must come from another country. Here, the poet criticizes the arrogance of societies that believes their own customs are superior. In the final lines, the poem carries the deepest meaning. The speaker imagines a country where all the outsiders, unusual people, and pricks live together. This imaginary country symbolizes a world where diversity is accepted and where no one is judged for being different. The poet uses the word pricks ironically to suggest that everyone is unique in some way. Therefore, instead of dividing people by nationality, culture, rank, or behavior, humanity should embrace individuality and difference. So, in the overall meaning of the poem is strong criticism of racism, xenophobia, cultural prejudice, and social intolerance. At the same time, it celebrates diversity, freedom, and the right of every individual to express their identity without fear and of judgment through humor, irony, repetition, and vivid imagery. Imtiaz Dharker delivers a universal message about acceptance and human equality. So the important terms: identity and otherness. The poem explores the theme of identity. The speaker is treated as different because of her behavior, language, and appearance. Society labels her as an outsider by saying she must be from another country. Cultural alienation. The poem shows how people feel isolated when they do not fit into social or cultural norms. The speaker experiences alienation because she belongs to multiple cultures. Racism and prejudice. The author criticizes people who judge others based on accent, race, race, or lifestyle. The poem exposes narrow-minded attitudes and discrimination in society. Freedom and individuality. The speaker behaves freely and differently, without fear of social rules. The poem celebrates individuality and the right to express oneself openly. Rejection of borders. The poem questions rigid ideas of nationality and belonging. Dharker suggests that identity is larger than countries, religions, or cultural boundaries. Acceptance of diversity. In the final lines, the poet imagines a place where all different people living together. The poem ultimately promotes tolerance, diversity, and human unity. So, thank you so much. That's it.